It's Friday, December 10th, 2010. I'm Kevin McShann, and this is the McShann Sports Beat Report.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. There were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown. They were chopping them up, they were chopping them down. It's an ancient Chinese art, and everybody knew their part. From a fainting to a slip, and a kicking from the hip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. Yeah, but they fought with expert timing. There was funky Billy Chin and little Sammy Chung. He said, "Here comes the big boss. Let's get it on." We took a bow and made a stand. Started swaying with the hand. A sudden motion made me skip. Now we're into a brand new trip. Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they did it with expert timing. Oh yeah.
Where's Vince Young?
I'm not sure. He's on his reserve.
Is he home? Is he
I don't know. He
in town?
I haven't seen him since the rest of the game, since he left the locker room, left the team in the locker room. So I don't know.
Is he welcome to come back to the facility?
He's welcome. He's treated no differently than any other injured reserve player.
How has this situation between head coach and quarterback affected the locker room?
It's hard to say. My gut feel is that the locker room is much better because of his actions after the game. There's no excuse for what he did.
Better in what way?
I think to a man, most everybody in that locker room would disagree with his actions, and so from that standpoint, he's probably better off not being here, but he is welcome to come back and rehab and be in the meeting rooms and so on.
Since then, have you had a chance to sit down with your owner, Bud Adams, and discuss Vince and his future?
No. The only discussion we've had is that he requires surgery. We're going to put him on injury reserve. So those things will take place
after the season's over. If you could change one thing about Vince off the field, what would it be?
This is not just Vince. This is most players in general. I think it's understanding what it takes to be a pro and the time commitment. It's a privilege to play in the National Football League, and it takes work. And there are also going to be ups and downs associated with that, and you have to be able to keep those in perspective.
The relationship between a head coach and his quarterback is one of the critical components to succeeding in the National Football League. When that relationship is fractured, then the chances of success are greatly minimized. For the Tennessee Titans, the relationship between head coach Jeff Fisher and his beleaguered young quarterback Vince Young has reached a critical impasse and is currently surviving on the thinnest of threads and by the skin of its teeth. Fisher has been through the ringer and back again during his 17 years pacing the sidelines for the Titans. He's seen the highs, the lows, and everything in between. However, the 2010 Tennessee Titans campaign may be his most challenging yet. The tension between him and his starting signal caller is just the icing on the cake. throwing a fight between Houston Texans wide receiver Andre Johnson and his starting quarterback Cortland Finnegan, and not to mention the addition of Mercurial wide receiver Randy Moss. To say that the Titans have dealt with their fair share of drama this season would be an understatement. The turning point between the coach and his quarterback came during a Week 11 19-16 loss to the Washington Redskins when Young tore his flexor tendon in his right thumb. Young wanted to return to game action, but Fisher wasn't satisfied that his quarterback was healthy enough to return to the game. As a result, Young threw his shoulder pads into the stands in frustration following the game, and Fisher and Young had a heated exchange in the locker room after the loss. Then, a week later, the Titans made national headlines once again when
leaning forward, flags come down. Oh, there's punching now. Yeah, Finnegan and Andre Johnson going after it. Both of the helmets were ripped off. Oh, it's continuing. It spills over. Well, it's gotten ugly. They're going to be tossing Andre Johnson out of the game for sure. He'll get the thumb because he connected on a couple of haymakers on Finnegan. Wouldn't be surprised if Finnegan doesn't get an early shower too. Finnegan talking to the sideline now of the Texans because of this action right here. Finnegan gets the first shot, then gets his helmet knocked off. He takes off Johnson, and now Johnson is going to get a couple of good shots in there, or bad shots if you will. And they're both gone, as well they should be. Well, you just don't see that in the NFL very often. That uppercut right there landed.
Johnson has been ejected. Finnegan has been tossed from the game as well. This is the play before when Johnson and Finnegan got into it. And Johnson has a knack of getting Finnegan's helmet off his head.
Well, and it was the last shot there when Johnson pushed him in the back. They almost go at it right there. And now, just a few seconds later, the helmet comes off again. Finnegan rips off Johnson's helmet. And physically, it's a bit of a mismatch.
There are personal foul penalties of both teams. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness after the play, number 80 of the offense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 31 of the defense. Both of those players are ejected.
Yeah, Johnson has gotten the better of Finnegan. 9 catches, 56 yards, 1 touchdown. And now an early shower. Whether Finnegan goes to the locker room as well, we'll have to wait and hear from our officiating crew.
Fisher is in an exclusive club. Only 2 active head coaches have more victories than him. Bill Belichick of the New England Patriots has 158 career wins, while Mike Shanahan of the Washington Redskins has gotten into the win column a total of 151 times, thanks in large part to all those years he spent guiding the Denver Broncos. Fisher stands alone among active head coaches when it comes to longevity with one franchise. Fisher has been with the Titans organization since 1994, when he was appointed head coach of the Houston Oilers. Ever since, he's been the Titans head coach for their entire time in Nashville. However, a 5-8 record and a 6-game losing streak following Thursday's 30-28 loss to the Indianapolis Colts have some wondering, will Fisher ever leave Nashville? During his interview with Steve Mariucci on the NFL Network, Fisher touched on a variety of subjects, including Finnegan's fight with Johnson, the Titans' season up until this point, his job security, and whether or not he wants to return to Nashville for the long term, and the effect that Mike Heimerdinger's battle with cancer has had on his team.
Cortland Finnegan and Andre Johnson.
I have my own opinions. Okay.
I would love to hear them.
I'll voice them.
Here's the thing: you play in another week.
That's correct.
Again.
And there is a 100% chance that Cortland will be matched up on Andre again.
100%?
Probably 110%.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Have you had or will you have a discussion with him about anything?
Same discussion I had with him before the first matchup.
Which was?
Don't do anything to hurt the football team. Period. And he did. With the exception, maybe a quick jam that went to the face.
But getting it, ejected hurts football team. Right?
Yeah, but he didn't throw a punch. So I disagreed with the ejections. I disagreed with how everything was handled. I thought, if you look at it from this perspective, it was one of the greatest examples of self-control and self-restraint and poise that you'll ever see. Because he didn't swing back.
Your close friend, your offensive coordinator, Mike Heimerdinger, was diagnosed with cancer. He's been going through some treatment. Yet he continues to coach. He continues to fight for his life, fight for this organization. How do you put that into perspective?
Well, you walk into his office when he's there and you give him a hug. That's how you put it in perspective. And it has been an incredible experience for the staff, for the players. He loves this team. He loves this organization. He loves this game. And I'll never, ever forget the commitment that he's made. It's been very, very inspiring.
146 wins. If there's ever jobs open, you will be certainly the pick of the litter. Do you want to be here next year?
Oh, yeah. I'm under contract for next year. Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to be here, Jeff, next year and in the future? Is this where you want to be?
What's interesting is, yes, of course, to answer your question, Steve, and you know this profession. What happens is you start off 5-2, you lose a few games in a row. Now all of a sudden, the ball starts rolling and people start speculating and everybody starts talking. But those things don't enter the thought process here. I'm focused on the next game. I'm focused on trying to win a championship for our owner.
Over the last 17 years, Jeff Fisher's mental resolve has been tested and his foundation has been shaken. But nevertheless, he always seems to find a way to consistently steer the Titan ship in the right direction, and Tennessee consistently emerges as one of the top performers in the NFL year in and year out. With that being said, the 2010 campaign for the Titans may be Fisher's most challenging season yet. As for Young, it's truly disappointing to see a player with a world of talent let it all go to waste. Because I'm not sure if Young truly gets what it means to be a starting quarterback in the NFL and the privilege and the honor he has each and every Sunday to be under center in Nashville. He may have a world of talent, but he has a sense of entitlement, and his mind is in the wrong place. And a mind, my friends, is a terrible thing to waste. So we'll see if this relationship between Fisher and his embattled quarterback can be resuscitated moving forward, or if this relationship has reached a point of no return. Kevin McShann, Sports Beat Report.